Hello. I've just pulled myself away from Apothecary Diaries light novel volume 9. Just started it. I'm in the beginning. And it's very good. And I'm very into it. So that's how you know how important this is, this video. That I was willing to peel myself from that. I have just filmed part 1 of this, maybe like an hour ago, where I went through all of my classics that I've read. But I have stacks and stacks and stacks of books here that I've pulled from my shelves up here. Stacks, 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 stacks. I have to go through these before I put them all away. We're gonna marathon it. We're gonna go straight through all of these. I'm gonna try to not talk about them very much. Classics I have not read, my full collection, besides Return of the King, which is in my bedroom, and another copy of Dune, which is also in my bedroom. I think those are the only classics I have in my bedroom, and I don't feel like getting up right now. I have read parts of these books, but I have not read The Cossacks by Leo Tolstoy or The Frogs by Aristophanes. Ivanhoe. Isn't this book beautiful? It's truly gorgeous. And this is by Sir Walter Scott. I don't know anything about Ivanhoe, really, at all. So, tell me if I should read Ivanhoe. Emergency telephone numbers. Serious emergencies. Who knew? I have an emergency pamphlet. Reader's Digest Family Health and Medical Encyclopedia. Shock may follow any serious sudden injury. Danger signals are clammy skin, rapid breathing, and rapid pulse. I don't know if I've ever been in shock. Anyway. Novelas de Alejandro Dumas. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning book. And it is entirely in Spanish, so. Shakespeare, The Complete Works. Not the most beautiful book, but incredibly useful. 5 classic murder mysteries by Agatha Christie. I have read The Moving Finger, and that is it. That's the only Agatha Christie I've read. For the life of me, I have never heard this said out loud. Hainish? Hainish just sounds like heinous, but if I was Dana Scully. By Ursula K. Le Guin. I have read the middle one of this. I shared in my last video an Ace double feature that had the third one, or the middle one. Anyway, I haven't read these. Heidi by Joanna Spyri. Walden by Henry David Thoreau. This was a copy my sister gave me for a gift, and it's really beautiful. I was really into Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson when I was in high school. That was my whole vibe back then. I don't know now, actually. Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. I have never read anything by Mark Twain, but it is a beautiful copy, so I guess it's a Reader's Digest. I don't know. Does that mean that it's not the full story? If so, I'll just read it from the public domain. Paradise Lost by John Milton. I really do want to read this quite a lot. The Iliad by Homer. I've probably read maybe like half of this. And I have read, sorry, I just had some cookie dough, some like sugar cookie dough, and now my throat is like. Essays, Poems by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's chonky. I haven't read anything from here. So I shared my Stanislaw Lem collection in the books that I've read. I have not yet read The Siberiad. Oh, and then here's some Brontë. Shirley by Charlotte Brontë. Like, I love the vibes of how this looks. Excited to read this at some point. Requiem for a Nun by William Faulkner. I have not read anything by William Faulkner yet. Anton Chekhov, 5 plays. I have not read any of these. Georg Buchner is what I'm gonna guess. 3 plays by by this person, by this man. Danton's Death, Leonce and Lena, and don't know how to say that. So there's Justine by Lawrence Durrell. I saw this a lot on Bookstagram like 8 years ago. Kangaroo by D.H. Lawrence. Definitely interested in reading this. This seems very weird. Magister Ludi by Herman Hesse. Also The Glass Bead Game, also called that. Cover, super weird. I actually have no idea what this is about, and super curious. Einstein's Relativity, would love to read this soon. I actually may pick this up fairly soon. So happy that I have this. So I'm in a rocking chair, so I'm like moving in and out of focus. Taps at Reveille by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I don't know how to say that word. I think that's how you say it. I don't know when I'm gonna read that. I feel like I've kind of like fallen off of like being interested in Fitzgerald. Oh my god, almost launched that across the room. The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I have read part of this in the past, and I've read about half of it in the recent past, and I still haven't gotten through it. It gets so descriptive about just Paris itself. There's a lot of description in here. And history. I don't think this is a classic, but it is old. So it is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or David Copperfield. It's a collection of like unrelated to that title stories and essays. And that's by Robert Benchley. I think he's famous in his own right, I don't know. One of my copies of The Metamorphosis, but this also has selected short stories. So yes, selected short stories of Franz Kafka. And I have read The Metamorphosis out of this one. I've also read In the Penal Colony and The Great Wall of China. I think I got halfway through A Country Doctor and I haven't come back through. But In the Penal Colony, top tier short story, loved it so much. And then this year I read The Great Wall of China in a vlog, and I also really enjoyed that. The Waves by Virginia Woolf. I don't know anything about this. Curious about it though. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Very, very interested in this. I've heard wonderful things. The Valley of the Moon by Jack London. I have part 2. I don't have part 1. But I'm definitely curious about this. Again, like I mentioned, I have gotten interested in Jack London as a person. And so I, just from that, have been interested in his writing, even though I haven't like really, really connected with his writing besides John Barleycorn, sorry. Persuasion by Jane Austen. Like I mentioned, I didn't have a great time with reading Jane Austen, and I'm like not really drawn to that world, so I feel really weird about it. I feel like I need to like it, but I don't, you know? No Signpost in the Sea by Vita Sackville-West. Very curious about this. The Raven and Other Poems by Edgar Allan Poe. I have indeed read several poems by Edgar Allan Poe. When I was a kid, we used to have this giant, like it was like all of the collected works of Edgar Allan Poe, and Conqueror Worm is in my brain forever now. The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis. When I get to filming my children's classics, which I have not filmed yet, when I get to that, you'll see all of the C.S. Lewis Chronicles of Narnia that I have read. I stopped just before The Silver Chair, and I haven't... Origin of Species. Also so thrilled that I have this book. Also love the cover art. I know it's just like a Penguin classic, but this is such a good vibe. I love it. The Canterbury Tales by Chaucer. I got more interested in this after reading Pearl and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I got a lot more interested in like the Middle Ages. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but I'm definitely more curious than I would have been earlier on. Just want to show off the back of this shirt because I made it. I sewed it and I crocheted? I don't know. I don't remember. I can't see it very well. I think it's a knit. Anyway, Main Street by Sinclair Lewis. Really interested in reading this soon. Also adore this book, the feeling of this book and the cover. Also adore Sinclair Lewis. Rudyard Kipling, I have short stories volume 1 and volume 2. I've read The Jungle Book, War and Peace. I understand this is abridged. If I ever read War and Peace, I will not read the abridged version. I will read the full-bodied version. Super intimidates me, but I love this cover where it's like toys. Ugh. What a great cover. Oh, Don Quixote by Cervantes. Super intimidating, super long, but obviously a classic. Dylan Thomas, Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog. I've never read Dylan Thomas before. Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë. I tried to read this somewhat recently, like last year. Did not get very far. Didn't get very far at all. But I think I would like this. I think I just have to be in the right mood. 5 Great Short Stories by Jack London. I gotta read it. This is probably not considered a classic just because it's a little underground, I think. But that's Prison Memoirs of an Anarchist by Alexandra Berkman. I am so interested in this book, but I have to show you how incredibly tiny the font is. This is like reading size like 8 font. It's super tiny, so. But I'm interested in this story. My 3rd copy of The Metamorphosis. I've never read from this copy before, and I actually don't know what other stories it has in it that may be different from my other copy. David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. This is a children's version. I have started reading this. I got quite far in reading this, like the real text, and I stopped. Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Hate the cover. Atrocious cover. I am interested in this one, but like I mentioned, I did kind of fall off of Fitzgerald a little bit. Aristophanes. I did read The Birds this year and I didn't really like it, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna love Aristophanes, but I am interested in these plays. Now, I don't know anything about this. I'm fairly certain this is classic. This is The Collected Poems of Wallace Stevens. I don't know. Tell me if I should read that. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This was an old receipt from Plato's Closet when I first started. Oh, from 2008? That's funny. So I must have been reading this when I was in high school, going to a junior college to learn sign language. I did a sign language class and I also did a German class, 2 different summers of high school. I was really into language when I was in high school. Haven't really carried that over, except I do know Spanish. William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. Beautiful, beautiful copy. Super intimidated by this book. The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. I actually don't know if it's in my children's classics, but Charlotte's Web is one of my favorite books. So I have Dune. I have another copy in there. Dune and Dune Messiah. Super, super, super interested in reading Dune, but I started it, rather. It is dense, so I haven't gotten through that. I also have Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I've started this before, but I didn't get very far. The Country of the Pointed Firs and Other Stories by Sarah Orne Jewett. Villette by Charlotte Brontë. Just the covers, oh, they're so pretty. A Zoo in My Luggage by Gerald Durrell. I think this counts as a classic. It's from 1960, so should count. Barabbas by Par Lagerkvist. So interested in this book. A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. Again, also super interested in this. Never read anything by James Joyce before. And All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot. I feel like it counts as well. Oh my god. I'm so bad at handling books, guys. This is going much faster than the one where I had already read all the books. God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. Oh, I see it. It's over there. That's another one that I don't have with me, but imagine it. The Loved One by Evelyn Waugh. Silent World by Jacques Cousteau. Dubliners by James Joyce. I've started this one as well. The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I've tried to read this in the past as well. Raise High the Roof Beam, Carpenters and Seymour by J.D. Salinger. Because I love A Catcher in the Rye so much, I'm like a little afraid to read anything else by Salinger. Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut. I just have everything that I have by Kurt Vonnegut. Jailbird. Just because I feel like he's a classic, so. The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley. There are some other books by Aldous Huxley that I would like to own, but I've never read from him. Get Off the Unicorn by Anne McCaffrey. I just thought I'd throw in some fantasy stories. Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov. Really interested in reading this. Crime and Punishment was an experience, and I've heard that this is some people's favorite Dostoevsky, so I'm really interested in that. And Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. I don't know anything about this at all. Oh, Jesus. Okay. All of these books are so dusty. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This had like a moment where everybody was talking about it, and I'm a little afraid of it. The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. Euripides. Medea, Hippolytus, and Helen. Have I read from Euripides before? I don't think so. The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. I'm really interested in this, but it's so long and obviously such like a dark subject matter that I don't know how I'm gonna get to it. The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. I read a lot of this at one point in my life, but I never finished it. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Super interested in reading this soon. Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. The Importance of Being Earnest and Four Other Plays by Oscar Wilde. I did read The Importance of Being Earnest when I was in school. I think it was middle school. And I remember really enjoying it. But I haven't read any of the rest. The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle by Hugh Lofting. I have indeed read whatever the other Dr. Dolittle book is, the first one. Dear Lord, some super racist imagery in that, and I just haven't gotten myself to reading this. Gulliver's Travels. I've read so much of Gulliver's Travels through LibriVox. Or maybe, no, I think it was just through Google Books. Public domain stuff. When I was in college, I read so much of it, but I never finished it. And this is my copy that I had as a child that I put puff paint on. We made it through in like extremely quick time. And I think that's all of it. I left up on my shelves here a lot of old science fiction because even though it's from 1950s, 1960s, I don't think it counts as classics. A lot of what I pulled in my first video I consider classics, but maybe that's just because I've read them. I don't know. I also have some Nancy Drew books that I didn't go through either because, again, I don't really consider those classics. I'm done. I need to figure out a thumbnail that will make all of the effort of pulling all of these books off of my shelves reach the eyes of other people.